So I am happy to introduce Maki Kimura, and she's a job share IB representatives of WILPF UK, together with Maria-Lisa Numosa. And Maki is, as I know, a fairly new member of WILPF UK, but she does have a long experience of research and teaching in wide-ranging topics of gender inequality. And she's particularly concerned with gender and sexual violence during conflict, past and present, and also, of course, women's underrepresentation in decision making. So one of the activities that I have been told she's undertaking in WILPF UK is to set up the UN Security Resolution 1325 working group to increase our capacity to better contribute to national policy development in this area. So I am happy to have you here, Maki. Looking forward to hear more, and the floor is yours. Have a good seminar, all of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Margarita, for introducing me. I'm Maki, and hello everyone. And I'm now in London just after midday. So those of you who are familiar with WILPF's history, I'm sure that you're aware that a lot of UK members were founding members were WILPF. So we have one of the oldest section which was founded in 1915. Currently, her current membership is around 300, but unfortunately, not all members are active for various reasons: work commitment, care responsibility, illness, or age. So we have been making efforts to improve internal communications so that we can engage with these members who are less active and update them with what's happening within our section. But I also want to highlight that many members are also part of other women's groups on volunteer or professional capacity, and this has been providing a platform to develop a strong network of women's groups within the UK and beyond. So we have active branches and groups in different parts of the UK, such as Brighton, Cornwall, Leicester, London, Norwich, Norfolk, Orpington, Scotland, and Sheffield. Next slide, please. And I also want to highlight our activities of our communication team. Now we have got a strong communication team with younger generation women with skills in new information and communication technology, and they are taking initiative in creatively using social media and these new technologies to make our activities known to the public, and particularly younger generation women, as well as to improve communication within our section, as I said earlier. And unfortunately, I can't show the video with this webinar platform, but our communication team created a video to go with a presentation that we make anywhere. But I'm just showing a slide, the still from this video. Okay, and next slide, please. So today I want to explain our main activities and campaigns that we organized or involved past couple of years. And the first one is Autumn Seminar, which we have been organizing many years. The seminar that we've been organizing over many years in autumn. And last year that our focus was on Voices of Refugee Women. And we also have Voices of African Women, which is a campaign within our section to work with the diaspora African women. And we have also a lot of activities around a nuclear ban treaty, which was successfully adopted last July. And a lot of members are involved in raising public awareness of the treaty. as I said in my introduction, that we are also trying to set up a Women, Peace and Security Working Group to make our contribution more visible in her national policy development in this area. Next slide, please. So I just want to explain more in detail about our autumn seminar. So this seminar, exploring voices of refugee women, developed from our members' request to hear refugee stories at our AGM last April, to show our solidarity with women, these women, and also to raise awareness of their lives so that we can influence on the government and other agencies to make changes. So the seminar took place on 25th of November. So that is the date of International Day of the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and also the first day of the 16 days of action. So we showed the video created by WILPF International during our seminar. So to organize this seminar, we worked in partnership with groups and individuals, particularly organizations which support refugee women. So we made a lot of contact with these organizations, and 5 organizations have agreed to participate. And 30 women shared their experience on the day, and we had 80 people, over 80 people attended. And again, our communication team created a fantastic video for publicity, and this video was circulated using social media, reaching out to students and young people. And obviously, we used other methods of publicity as well. The day consisted of 2 sessions. So in the morning, we listened to women's stories, and in the afternoon that we had discussion on what we can or should do, rather than simply forming a solidarity, because this is something which actually came out from the seminar, that we really need to think about what kind of practical action that we can make to create changes. And I also want to mention that this seminar is funded by Movement Building Fund of WILPF International. So we really are grateful for the support. Okay, next slide, please. So as I said, the communication team created a fantastic video, and also leading to the seminar, we also released 7 myth-busting facts to highlight what the life is like, really like for refugee women in the UK, to raise awareness. So this slide actually shows one of the facts that we also shared. Next slide, please. So African Women is a campaign organized by communities of diaspora, refugee and immigrant African women in the UK, and it was set up in 2008. So this year is the 10th anniversary of Voices of African Women. So Voices of African Women's aim is to join voices of these women together at UK and international level. And Voices of African Women organizes human rights exchange training. For example, that this year we invited Benha Deriva, a young Ethiopian human rights lawyer from Addis Ababa, to come to London to share her understanding of conditions for women and children in Ethiopia with WILPF and other organizations, other NGO groups in the UK. And we also organize a program of training for BLEN to learn about works of UK-based NGOs and also about advocacy and lobbying. So BLEN expressed an interest in starting up, establishing a WILPF group in Addis Ababa when she returns. And those members who are involved in Voices of African Women also have got various connections in different African countries, including DRC, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Sudan, and Somalia. So through this network, that we also work with women in African women in these countries. Next slide, please. So as for nuclear ban treaty, many members have campaigned to raise public awareness of the negotiation of the treaty, but many members also have been actively involved in the negotiation process itself, working together with organizations, including ICANN, which obviously won last year's Nobel Peace Prize, as you know. One of our focus has been, as UK being one of the nuclear possessing country under NPT, is to put pressure on the UK decision makers to sign the treaty and bring the treaty into national law. So her members took part in various activities, including a mass lobby in March, and also the Nobel Prize dying demo in front of Ministry of Defense in December, as you can see from the photo where one of the members, Sheila Triggs, giving speech in front of MOD. I want to highlight here. I also would like to draw your attention to specific activities in our members in Scotland. Partly because nuclear submarines and the Trident nuclear deterrent program are based in Scotland. So members in Scotland branch are active in raising issues of nuclear weapons being transported through poorly maintained roads and through major cities in Scotland. So members in Scottish branch are working together with other groups such as Nuke Watch for this campaign. Next slide, please. So WILPF UK is also a member of Gender Action for Peace and Security, which is often called GAPS, the UK's only women, peace and security civil society network. So this network advises the government for the development of a national action plan on women, peace and security. So it's really great to be part of this network, but unfortunately our involvement and our contribution past years has been fairly limited and minimum. So what we are trying to do is set up a working group within our section to build our capacity to further and also effectively contribute to policy development in this area. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. So we are having our executive committee meeting this coming Saturday. So we have to sort of decide what we will focus on our campaign this year. But already a lot of activities have been emerging. So I want to share these. So obviously there are a lot of activities planned around the nuclear ban treaty. And I mean, obviously we need to put further pressure on the UK government to sign the treaty. But what we are also planning to do is to work with the key decision makers in the UK Labour Party, because UK Labour Party will likely to be the majority party at the next general election. So we're really trying to influence the decision making through her UK Labour Party, and we are putting a grant proposal together to fund this activity. And we also want to continue our activities around voices of refugee women through publishing their stories on our blogs and working together with partner organizations to deliver their voices through our contribution to the CEDAW shadow report, as currently the evidence of violation of women's rights is collected. And we are planning to further strengthen our women, peace, security working groups, organizing training events, and working with WILPF International, particularly with Leila Al-Dotto, who is based in London. So we are trying to increase our capacity on this area. And some members are involved in the film project, Women Peace Activists at Versailles 1919. This is a project developed following the previous successful film project with Clapham Film, Dangerous Women, which celebrate the centenary of WILPF. I'm pretty sure that some of you have already watched this film online. So there are a lot of activities happening for this year, and we are really hoping to have another year of full activities. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Maki. This is Elena speaking from Geneva office again. Thank you, Maki, for sharing all this information and this overview of WILPF UK work. It really seems that you have a lot on the pipeline for the upcoming year. And now maybe I would like to see if there's any questions for you from the audience. I would like to collect some, and please do raise your hand if you want to ask a question, or if you feel more comfortable with typing, you can just type your question, sorry, in the question box in the control panel of GoToWebinar. I have a question from Barbara from WILPF Australia. Barbara, you are muted. Please come in.
Thank you. With preparation or action plan. I was just wondering, WILPF is very involved in monitoring.
Sorry, Barbara, the
action plan on.
Barbara, sorry to interrupt you. We don't seem to hear you that well. Could you maybe try to type down the question?
I couldn't hear either, yes.
Same here. Let's see if she can maybe type down the question. While we wait, I think it was a question on the National Action Plan.
Yeah, I'm having trouble.
Barbara, could you?
Yeah.
Barbara, the connection seems not really good. Could you maybe try to type in your question in the box on GoToWebinar panel, control panel? Sorry for that. I would like maybe to see if there's any other questions while we'll wait for Barbara. Well, while we wait for Barbara's questions and maybe some other questions from the audience, I have a question for you, Maki. If you could
Yes.
tell us a bit maybe about the key type of demands or the message that you want to pass across with the initiative Voices of African Women.
Sorry, is it? Sorry, the sound was a bit broken. So, are you talking? Are you asking about the seminar or of Voices of Refugee Women or Voices of African Women?
Voices of African Women in particular.
Yes. So, and then, sorry, what was the question?
I would like maybe if you could elaborate or tell us more about the type, if there are like the type of demands that characterizes the campaign or the type of messages that you want to pass across.
Yes, so some of the campaign, some of the demands that Voices of African Women are making is, obviously to give pressure on the UK government and also maybe other, European governments to end the support for oppressive regimes, and also to call for effective governance by African governments. and also they demand to implementation of UN Security Council Resolution 1325 and other resolutions on women, peace and security. So there are lots of areas that we Voices of African Women are making demand, but one of the difficulty is obviously a lot of women also need to concern about their own network, maybe from their own community. So it's really difficult, even though that we have got a quite nice, a good platform, a good network, but it's been really maybe quite difficult to make big changes because there are a lot of different issues happening in different parts of Africa.
Thank you for your answer. I also now have the question for Barbara. So Barbara, she's wondering, is WILPF UK very involved in the monitoring of UK National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security?
Okay, so that is the area that obviously, as I said earlier, that our involvement in National Action Plan and maybe monitoring has been quite limited past years and limited and minimum past years. But as I said, that as a part of GAPS, this network that which produce shadow report to monitor and review the progress of the government in this area. So we are really hoping that we can have more voices, our voices reflected in this shadow report.
Thank you. Barbara, if you want to follow up to that answer, you can always use the question box to write your comments. Now I would like to see if there's any other questions from our audience. And also, I forgot to mention from our panelists, of course, from WILPF Germany, you're very welcome to ask any questions as well. I have a question from Daniel. I'm gonna bring you in. Daniel, the floor is yours, but you seem to have muted yourself. You should, yes.
Better?
Perfect. Yes.
Hi everyone. I'm Tanyel from WILPF UK. Hello, Maki.
Hello.
I've only recently joined the webinar, and I was listening to the comments about Voices of African Women and the shadow report, and I was just wondering what Maki's thoughts and opening that out to everyone else's thoughts on accountability. So when we hold seminars and we share and exchange ideas, it's very much amongst people who are of the same mind, having different experiences and different details, of course. And I was wondering what people's thoughts are on institutional and government accountability and how we help institute proper responses to reports, etc. Thank you.
Okay, so this is my own personal view. So I'm not saying this is a WILPF UK's view, but one of the things I really want to do is, for example, if it is an issue of Voices of Refugee Women, that obviously it's really important to listen to their stories. But what I really didn't want to have, and also I think this is what actually emerged from the seminar, is even though it is important to have solidarity, this is not enough. So I really want to look for the avenue to influence influence the government and the other agencies to make changes. So, for example, the refugee issues is obviously like human rights issues, but the reason I'm trying to set up 1325 working group is I really believe that issue of refugee women should be and can be addressed under 1325. So that is UK government's responsibility to protect these women's women's rights. So that is the, and also we also can highlight why these women have to escape their countries. That is something to do with arms trade, and that is something that we also can work with the government. So that is the area that I was thinking that we really should, not just doing, having these activities, but how we can actually try to find the avenue to influence and other organizations to transform the society.
Thank you, Maki. I have, along the same line, I have a follow-up question from Barbara. She's wondering whether you are involved in the preparation for the next stage of the National Action Plan.
Well, sorry, that's again through her gaps that we will be involved in developing the next national action plan. But I mean, the recent one just has been, so I think it's not until for next few years. But the issue is, I mean, obviously we have got as a volunteer, as a women's organization, we have got a lot of interest in protecting women's rights. But at the same time, even though that we have this kind of platform to share our understandings and also share our concerns, that I also had the impression that is not a guarantee that our voices will be reflected on National Action Plan, but that is something that we really, really want to try.